Hey folks, we're going to do some artwork tonight. So we're going to work on creature tokens for the adventure that we're going to publish on DMsGuild in the world of Eberron, Crystal's Home of Ours, an 8th level adventure for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Let's hold on tight. So I'm going to check my signal, go through my intro, and then probably kick here with you guys for 100 minutes maybe. So give me a second here to see if I'm coming through. I'm having some technical difficulties already. Good. Check, check. And there we go. I should be live now. And sounds clear. 5 by 5. All right. And there's that. And maybe 5 by 4. Let's not oversell it. Here and here. Okay, so if you're catching this after stream in the future, hey, future you. I'm going to go through my intro spiel. If you've heard it before or you're not interested in hearing about me, and you just want to see the art, go ahead and skip ahead like a minute or whatever, and I'll see you on the other side. So, but anyone else that's here in the present moment with me now, or new to the channel, hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, I publish them online. I've been focusing my attention on Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition for the past 5 years. There's a slew of work that I've already created previously in the description down below. All the links I have to stuff down there, they have extensive free previews. So if you're here for the artwork, there's probably about 150 different illustrations across the books that are just posted down below, and you can search my name as an artist. I'll pop up in about 97 different books. So cheers to that, community. Love having you with me. Beyond that, yeah, if you're a D&D enthusiast, like I said, there's extensive free previews. So you can check out the stuff. I make things for both players and DMs. I run games myself from level 1 to 20 in about 200 to 250 hours. So the tools that I publish are tools that I use in my own campaigns that were cool enough and work well enough that, hey, let's build a thing out of this and hand it out to people. You can look at all that stuff for free. If you want to support me, God bless you. Hey, Hornetico. So just to catch up here real quick, this is the cover that I created. This is my Twitter X account. If you're still on Twitter, you can catch me at Phil Kearney. And let's see, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. We are climbing to 500 subscribers. And so if you think this stuff is cool, I'm here 6 days a week. We're painting all sorts of stuff. We're making D&D games. We're designing new rules. And we're talking about days of old. So I've been DMing for 36 some odd years. I've got a couple yarns I could spin for y'all. We're at episode 178 right now, making creature tokens. This book cover was created back around episode 40, so you can jump into the playlist Wayback Machine and go check out the creation of that, as well as all the maps that we've already completed for the adventure, all the structural stuff that we've done. There's a ton of content in here for you guys just to check out how we are building this adventure. And when it's done, we'll publish it on the DMsGuild as a PDF. You can look at it in the free preview and check out all this creation that we've had and what it becomes manifest is in a PDF. And if you think it's cool, consider, helping invest in the next one. So, because when this is done, we're just going to do another one, and we're just going to keep rolling through content until we pick up enough people that think it's cool that I can quit my day job and just do it all the time. So, here's hoping, right? We were making a Revenant last time we were here. Revenants are on a mission of vengeance. They got a thing or two that they want to do. And so we are making a Revenant face. Allow me to be a Revenant. I'm just being a doodle bug right now. I don't know if that's it looks kind of elven there. I don't quite like that. Into that, though. That's pretty dope. One of these days, I'm going to make a book that's just line art like this, and I'll crack it out like in 2 months. Just give him a big old stash. Right on. Hold on. There we go. Big ol' handlebar, anger stash. This guy's made of grump. Grump on that, buddy. There you go. Get that Get that sulk going, that spawn sulk. I just want to go see Wanda. You can't. Dude, this guy actually looks really fucking dope. Yeah. Good call, Renetico, man. On point as usual, kind sir. On fucking point. This shit's hardcore. Mouse-shaped skull. That guy's dope. I love that. Thanks, Renetico. Complete inspiration here. So Revenants are undead on missions, right? And the Manifest Zone Samabar animates a lot of undead. And there was a lot of soldiers that got killed out there way in the past. So if you run across this Revenant, you could potentially ally it. Because it may decide it has a vendetta and that it can take its vengeance out on what Carnathi military is present, which, depending on when the team runs across the Revenant, they may know that there is, spoiler alerts, Emerald Claw that are here, taking care of, that are riling up the Manifest Zone. So if this Revenant decides that killing some Emerald Claw is sufficient enough for its vendetta against the Carnathi military, then you'll have an undead ally on your side, which could come in really fucking useful. I'm now thinking about 3rd edition, how it had the Savage Species expansion, where they had a conversion guide from CR into level adjustments. I could swear some YouTuber was attempting to do something like that, and it just wasn't. It doesn't quite click with 5e the same way. Like 3e, God, 3e was crazy, man. 3e, you could in 3e you could convert literally anything you could imagine into at least a one level prestige class, like a dip class or a template. Like you could be a zombie character if your DM allowed it. The conversion is like it's like worth 2 levels to be a zombie. There you go. So as long as the game starts at 3rd level, then you can have 2 levels of zombie and then like fighter 1 or whatever. And in 3rd edition, monsters, to make them more difficult, you just stack character levels onto them. Very 1st edition in mentality there, but 3rd edition was so powerful. Like if you give, let's say, that opens the door to prestige classes too. Because like prestige classes didn't have necessarily level qualifiers. They had like you have to have a strength of 13. You have to have a proficiency bonus of +3. You have to have proficiency in wilderness or like survival and investigation. And if you have all 4 of those qualifiers, you can be a huntsman, which has like you could deploy traps as an attack action that could restrain or capture foes. So all you had to do is like any hobgoblin in the game automatically qualifies for that. So every hobgoblin in the game could be a trapsmith and just toss traps onto your team. And so like that's how cool the game was. But the reason I'm spinning on about that, the reason I was thinking about that is because if you really pick this guy up as a sidekick, as a warrior sidekick, that would just fucking rock. Having a Revenant on a vengeance mission with you for like the next 7 levels. You go in and just clear Emerald Claw out of all scientific organizations at Ader Academy, and it just completely like exterminatus. Just get rid of them. And this Revenant's helping you the entire time, and when you kill the last one, he's like, up, see ya. And then you do something different. That'd be fun as fuck. Alright. I think that's probably enough detail up there for now. Let's just check around the periphery here real quick, make sure everything looks okay. Then we'll bounce on to the next one. Wait. There. Nipple chin. This guy's butt chin. Careful, Kearney. There. Good job. Now he's just sticking his butt out underneath his mouth. Blech. I have a cleft chin. I'll never show it to you, but it's in there. It's hiding. This guy's dope as fuck. I remember I went to PiezoCon about 4 years ago at SeaTac Airport here in Seattle. That's where they hold it every year. Well, they were when they were doing live events. I don't know if they're ever going to do live again. But I took a portfolio of Pathfinder character art that I made, and there was some decent stuff. I could do it better now than then, but at the time I had spent like, I want to say 40 hours replicating Wayne Reynolds' detail for the, what's her name? Tira, I think. Kira the Cleric. I spent a ridiculous amount of time duplicating her the level of detail that he had in her primary character illustration. And the response I got was, you don't have to be that specific. It looks great, but you don't have to be that specific. That conversation is what spurred me to study Bob Ross, because the top comment was, your character art's looking really good, kid. If you can get your backgrounds to the same level as your character art, we'll happily have you illustrate with us. And in the time that it took about 2 years for me to get to the point where I would want to reapproach them, and in that time I found out that you get about $400 for a half page, like $800 for a full page of art, and like full cover, like cover painting. And it's like, I haven't bothered to check again in like probably 2 or 3 years, but that's just like, I'd rather just make my own books and pay myself. So, and then the other holdout I had, the other dream that I still had was whatchamacallit. It's the word is Magic the Gathering, and but now that I'm off screen. Hey guys, hi. Now that I'm doing Magic, now that I'm doing color mana books on the DMs Guild, I'm totally satisfied. So, I've had like a dozen books maybe that were, that have like my old printed black and white art in them. So I'm really over having printed books. I don't care about that anymore. It's just more stuff that I wonder if I'll ever regret throwing away. If I just don't have it in the first place, then I'll never regret it. So I don't really care about getting like free books anymore. It's just clutter. So I really like the PDF format, and it lets me operate really simply, and I can just work with my own color palettes and not have to worry about if it's replicatable for POD. You know, it's not as difficult at all. It's just they're all using what's on screen is what you get. So I can feel pretty confident about what they are. What I produce will turn out well. It used to be a nightmare back in the early 2000s trying to color match. It was beyond my ability. Could not color match to save my life because I don't see any color. How the fuck am I going to match it? So I got a real bad taste for that, obviously. but I understand it's really simple now. But I like the ability. This is going to sound like copium, but it's legit. I update my documents like Color Mana updated maybe probably last year at this point. But before that, it was about every 6 months I was updating the Color Mana books. I'm confident enough in how mana is categorized now and the use of mana and recovery and concentration. I've had enough field testing at my home table for the past 5 years that it works as intended now. So I don't have to make very many modifications anymore. So I've for the most part stopped. But while I was still finding ways to improve the stuff that I published, I was continuing just to update it every time. It's like, okay, that's enough. I can put in a new thing. And that's what... it's nice to be able to have a PDF that you can just freely do that with. That you don't have to worry about all this inventory that you created, even if it's print on demand. I don't know. Maybe I would. If there's enough interest, I might consider it. Assuming that I can get. I don't know, man. I don't know how well the industry takes to Word documents. It's great for PDFs. Might not be compliant for Word or for print on demand. I don't know. I have to look into that honestly. Well, now I'm just thinking about it because I never really cared before, but for whatever reason, I'm supposed to be thinking about it right now. So whatever the fuck that means, we'll find out, right? Hey, what's up? Hey, Zona. Chin reveal. No. No, I'll be giving away my brush set on my Patreon at no cost when I get the 500 subscribers. For the painters out there that care. I honestly don't know how many painters actually hang out on my channel. I think I've got more D&D enthusiasts than anything. That's why Google doesn't know what to do with me. They're like, we don't understand what this kid's trying to do. That arm is at the wrong angle, by the way. And that is stiff and boring. Merge. Merge, don't do it. Rolling around. So how you doing, man? Sometimes you just gotta be like, okay, but what if this goofy idea is taken seriously? And surprisingly amount of times, that's when it pays off. Hell yeah, my guy. I love the goofy stuff, man. Let's get that. That feels right. Now we can hinge this. Do-do-do. How you doing there, Stubby? Arms look a little short there, boyo. Oh. Timely timer. Let's go there, and then I love doing this stuff, man. It's like kit bashing your own shit. That's probably the best way I can describe it. I throw down a bunch of doodles and then I just start looking at what's in it and start extracting shapes and add form and detail. Like that's where all like these little bead things on his shoulders came from, and like this little pendant that's hanging on the top of his garnet, the leather belt here. This guy's got a fucking story to tell. But yeah, this style of art allows me to create intense, sick levels of detail with relatively minimal effort. My downfall is always wanting to colorize everything, which takes for fucking ever. If I just limited myself to line art like this, I would be able to bang out banger murals in virtually no time at all. But my dream is to be able to produce color work with the same intensity in a reasonable amount of time. Like between last session on Monday and this session, I've maybe spent like maybe an hour and a half on this at total. Maybe an hour. It could be, I don't remember when I started last, but I've only been, how long have I been active? I've been active for 22 minutes now. So like it could have been, yeah, I think maybe I've hit an hour at this point. That's not a lot of time to be able to crack out pretty, in my own opinion, some pretty damn good art. So it's, there's crazy potential out there for me to be able to I just have to figure out a style of color rendering that allows me the same amount of freedom and expression and just natural like flow state that line art like this does. If I can find that space, be able to crack out a whole bunch of fucking really good work. And I think it's possible. And I think I get to experience it before I die. So basically, I just put out the request to the muse. It's like, show me. You see my entire life. You've got the Nintendo guide next to you there. You know how to hit all the secret quests. So show me how I get to a place where I can do like a full painting illustration like this in like 3 hours. So when I go full time with this as a gig, I can do like a full page of art in like 7 hours. Sit down in the morning, have some coffee, take a lunch break, come back by the end of the day, have a complete page of art done. That would really help me collapse my time to be able to get shit done, you know? But if it's possible, she'll show me. So I just don't know how long it's going to take to get there, and I don't know, because you can have anything you want. It's just how long are you willing to wait, and what are you willing to endure to shift into the type of person that has that as a reality, because who you are right now isn't enough to have what you want. But the fact that you want it is an indication it's within your field of possibilities. Otherwise, you would never even dream it's possible. But are you willing to become the person that needs to be that person? You have to let go of a lot of what you currently are to adopt things that you aren't. Because you only hold so many spoons, right? Anyway. This guy is fucking dope. Good sir, is that a knife for a hand? Do you have a knife for a hand? A very dangerous pirate, sir. Did the afterlife turn you into a pirate? A robot pilot? Pirate. Maybe I want to flip this. Horizontal. Yes, I do. I've got this hook for a hand out here. Oh, nope, that's just perspective. Just like that. I feel as long as you are able to keep applying yourself and mentally stay your course, you can manifest just about any goal. But like you said, how long are you willing to wait? Yeah. Or what pain are you willing to endure? Or what are you willing to be really honest with yourself? Like, I know for a fact that I could really elevate my business if I was willing to invest the time in packaging all my stock art and doing cleanup work so it looks really crisp and it's in a good, presentation package. And I could have it all uploaded on a Patreon right now. But that means I'm taking time away from other things that I'm doing online. Because I only have so much time a day, and what drives me more than anything is creation, not administration. So it's holding me back right now. But there's a queue, there's an ordering queue. It's like, show me a way that I can enjoy and integrate the administration process into the creative process. And for example, I can now generate one video of content a week that isn't just an extraction of me doing this, like an organized thought. I had one last Sunday. I have one this Sunday as well. I'm starting to be able to organize thoughts and just do snippet conversation things. And that's like a change this month. That sort of thing came online for me. So, and it's uncomfortable, but it's something that I can now do. So I know that that looks goofy. Yeah. Keep it casual. Merge down. Wait. Yes. Merge down. There we go. God, this guy's fucking sick. Oh, man. Undead kukri. Some demon's just handing out magical kukri. It's like, here you go. Go stab something. Have fun, kids. I spy with my eye. There's text on the side, but hold on. Jamil? Alas, this naturally does a lot of... Yeah. Yeah. It adds a lot of attitude. Nope, that didn't help. I'm just gonna leave the lip alone. That's perfect. I can fuck out with this thing out here, fuck around out here. Just a bit. Yeah, this is a very particular set of skills sort of person. You can just tell. I've seen some shit. I bet you have, boss. Keep that to yourself, okay? All right, it's time for me to look up Revenant on D&D Beyond. D&D Beyond Revenant. Looks like you've completely failed, stupid. Let's try that again. Monster Revenant. What you got? Yeah, okay. You look spooky. CR5, hostile. Very hostile. A revenant forms from the soul of a mortal who met a cruel and undeserving fate. It claws its way back into the world to seek revenge against the one who wronged it. The revenant reclaims its mortal body and superficial resembles a zombie. However, instead of lifeless eyes, the revenant eyes burn with resolve and flare in the presence of the adversary. If the revenant's original body was destroyed or is otherwise unavailable, the spirit of the revenant enters another humanoid corpse. Regardless of the body of the revenant used as a vessel, its adversary always recognizes the revenant for what it truly is. Okay, well, apparently I'm off-brand. I guess it's supposed to be an undead thing, but God, this guy's so fucking hoss. I guess we'll just have to make him the captain of the mercenaries. And we'll just make a cheaper villain. That's what I get for not reading beforehand, huh? That's okay. I'm not deflated. Now I'm excited about them being... God, what was his name? Captain... Carl. His first name is Carl. Karrl. I forgot his last name. But his first name, I believe, is Carl. Carl, captain of the Red Wolves. There's also a Karen inside of here. Karren. She's a bastard. But she can also be allied with, and she can be bribed. She'll be looking for a deal. She's already trying to snatch power away from Solzu. Solzu is the necromancer that masterminded this operation, but Karen's like, I'm telling you, it's gonna kill you. You don't have enough. You don't have enough strength to survive that long. And he's like, fuck you, I'm strong. She's like, okay, boss, you're strong. And yeah, at this point, Solzu is screaming for help, and Karen's like, what's that? Can't hear you over how strong you are. It's like, stop fucking around. It's like, tell you what, let's go get you a villager to kill instead of letting you die. Well, hurry, I need it. It's like, yeah. She's like, let him just hang for a while. We'll be back, Sozu. he started the ritual, but he's trapped there because he has to sustain it, and it keeps eating his hit dice. It'll kill him eventually. And Karen's stockpiling a bunch of villagers so that when she steps in over his corpse and picks up the ritual and continues it, she's just stocking up on people, seeing how long does it take for Solzu to die. Okay, I'm going to need about 15 villagers. Great, you're no longer needed here, Solzu. Shadow Mastiffs, go ahead and eat him. And then she can step in and take control. But then you fuckers show up, and she has to pivot. And pivot fucking hard. Oh, crap. Who are these jackasses? What do I got to do now? That's the villains, like, in a nutshell. Solzu's pissed that she's letting him die. He's perfectly aware of it. He can do absolutely nothing about it. Because if he stops the ritual, it will kill him. If he keeps using the ritual, if he keeps maintaining the ritual, it will kill him eventually. But at least this way, he has time to think. When he's not screaming in agony from the ritual tearing him slowly apart. But occasionally, he has a spark of an idea. And then he loses his concentration again on what he was trying to think about. Because the pain, it just comes through in waves and he loses it. So, kind of stuck there. Kind of really hating life. The one person that could actually help him and stop what's happening is the Houndsman, who is basically like an evil beastmaster that has control of Shadow Mastiffs. That is like a sidekick. He's an Emerald Claw Zealot, and he's loyal to the Claw, but unfortunately for Solzu, he's actually really more loyal to Karen than anyone else. And he is okay with letting her do what she wants because she's saved his life more than once during the war, and he is just professional crushing on her forever. So he will always allow her decisions to override whoever the client is or whatever's going on. And he was assigned to work with Solzu, and Karen requested him specifically to have time with him. So there's no way he's going to turn on her. So Solzu didn't really realize that relationship when he picked them up. So he was pretty much set up from the fucking beginning. And now when the 12, the evil wizard organization that's secretly funding the operation, see plot hook number 2 for more details. When they come in, it's basically Solzu takes the fall, and she has the opportunity to kind of swoop in and get recruited by the 12 to clean up this shit. It's like, yeah, this guy was way out of control. I tried to put him on rails. He was too powerful. If I walked away, God knows what happened. I'm really glad you're here. Thanks for showing up. You want to take control of the situation because that ritual is going to pop and it's going to go bad. Tell you what. Let's make a deal. I can maintain this for you. And we can make sure that this ritual pops without any problems so our mutual boss is satisfied. And you can help provide security during that process to make sure that other intrepid adventurers may come by and attempt to stop the process. And if you decide to go with that, roll a d10, divide by, or like roll a d6, and then re-roll a 6, and you can pick one of the plot lines that you didn't pick to be your next opponent that comes in, invading the dungeon to try to knock you out. If you wanted to do that. If you decided you wanted to do that. It just depends on what kind of adventure you're running. But it's fun. That's the kind of cool shit I'm really happy we built. So it's a really cool adventure. I'm looking forward to the next one. I want to do that. That monk temple at the top of the frozen volcano. That one is super fucking fun. And there's so much stuff we could have done, and the adventure went where the adventure went. So there's a lot of ideas that we could have explored in the. I did an adventure when I first released the Color Mana Spell Point variant rules. I got invited by a now mostly inactive YouTube channel called Babies with Knives, and they said, hey, this is a thing you're doing. Do you want to? We're looking for new content, so do you want to come on and show us how to build a character using color mana and then run a one-shot? Like, are you kidding me? Fuck yes, I do. So I created, I had them build 6 level characters. I used the Eberron setting to demonstrate that you could use color mana anywhere instead of like leaning into the Ravnica setting. I just because I use color mana in Ravnica or in Eberron. So it's like, yeah, I just want to do what I'm used to doing. So I randomed up. I created an adventure with the random adventure generator that I was talking about, and I ran a 6-hour one-shot for 6 level characters. And they're like, wow, we've never played in Eberron, and this setting's badass, and this color system works really well. It's cool, and there was, you know, it was a live no net blind audience play, like 4 people I've never played a game with before, only had a couple conversations with, jumped in and built characters and ran it one shot like I was a complete stranger. And there was one instance when the paladin had a feel bad moment about I didn't do a really good job projecting the potential threat of traps, and the paladin ran through a mana strand, and when it popped, it triggered a hold person on him, and it took him 3 rounds to make his saving throw to get released from it. And by that time, the rest of the team had caught up, and they were waiting for him to show up to start combat, and so he was frustrated. And so that was a teachable moment for me about like presentation and frustrations and stuff like that. I was just playing it straight, and but it was basically a save or die sort of spell that I thought would be tolerable, but considering the nature of the one shot, I can see how frustrating that would have been. So that was a really good learning lesson. But it was also on screen. You guys can watch me go through that process with him, and it eventually resolved, you know, peaceably. And we continued on the adventure, and they all fucking rocked it, and it was awesome. But that adventure was something I randomly generated that adventure off of the random adventure generating toolkit that I built for Eberron, and so once this adventure gets finished, I can dive into that one, and depending on how well this adventure goes, we'll decide whether I have this one on DMsGuild or if I build it, if I scratch off the file off the serial number and release it as like a Creative Commons or an OGL or whatever type of adventure. But I don't assume, like, I don't have to be on the DMsGuild, but I have to have enough momentum and audience to warrant not being on the DMsGuild, because I'll have better luck faring in the outer world. And for 5e content, honestly, DMsGuild is still really, unless you have a huge audience already built, like off of YouTube or something, DMsGuild is pretty much the best bet for you to be able to get something, any kind of lift or visibility. But it's that you start off in town, and the town it has a small constabulary. You're visiting for a number of different reasons. Pick one, and there's, you know, like 4 or 5 different plot hooks that you could choose to have a reason for your characters to be there. And we ended up going with they had a friend or a family. They had friends of the adventuring team that was a monk that belonged to a monastery that was at the top of a frozen volcano in this incredibly northbound, like Arctic Circle fishing community, right? It was like a crabber community, so they would do crab fishing, and the last war took away all of the magic battery resources. Like the way that I run Eberron is like a well-to-do house, like an aristocratic or wealthy lifestyle, gets you mana crystals that you can screw into appliances and power them with mana as though they were devices, you know. And so they're basically weapon batteries. You can just, you know, plug a clip in and then pop, 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 pop. I can just fire off a wand of like an Eldritch blasting wand is basically what it becomes. or you can power a home with it and keep warm. So they didn't have the military took all of these mana crystals, since there was a continent-wide war, that sort of a resource was relegated to war machines and like heavy weapon damage shit. So all these communities that were used to having mana resources available for them to have like heat in the wintertime and like lamps and stuff lit at night to keep things safe, and the convenience of like sending stones to be able to communicate with it. These were all powered by mana stones. So they took them all. So they lost their mana resources, which caused a whole bunch of monk monasteries to arise to become civil servants that were living mana batteries. Because their ki, they can regenerate their ki on a short rest. So even just a first level monk with, I guess you have to be second level, but in my world, you gain mana at first level as a monk. So you can check out some of the books I have down below. They process monks differently. So you start off, you can just have ki initiate. Like you take the feat as a background, you get a point of ki, and you're now a living battery. And anytime you can just stick your finger, and now you've charged that conductor with mana for an hour. So you can go and do your rounds, and so if you're on a circuit, you can spend all day going from location to location, constantly taking a casual stroll as a patrolman, just keeping an eye on the neighborhood, and meanwhile you're recharging ki. So when you get to your next location at the end of your short rest hour of casually walking, you spark that place. So you have this series of different buildings that you're rotating between to keep power in the community as a living battery. And so the community pays for your temple to be there because the temple creates batteries that can be used by the community. And they're all defensive martial artists so that they can provide a rudimentary level of security for the community as well, act as local security force. So the town's getting jumped by a rival temple while you're there. Like you show up in town, they think there's a snowstorm blowing in. So they're concerned about trying to travel so late in the day. You arrive in on a fishing boat that got you all the way up there to the Arctic Circle. And now you're kind of locked into your hotel. But then you start noticing that there's some weird shit going around. Well, it's because the enemy monks are coming in and they're assassinating all the constables that are monks. They're taking them out ninja style. And if your team catches hold of that, you can help clear out all the ninjas. And then if you can interview one of them, then you can find out that they're just a distraction to create a false front. The main force of the ninjas are already on their way up to the temple. It's like, but there's a hurricane. It's like, we know. And so you're like, fuck. So you have to find a way. There's 3 different ways to get to the top of the volcano. Depending on like what you do in the adventure decides on how easy that path is. There's 3 different ways, and one of them is fast but eats all your mana. Another one is a mid slowish, but it's highly hostile, lots of enemies, high CR creatures. And then the third one is actually going up the side of the mountain where there's only a couple like very cold ninjas clustered around a very small fire, hoping no one shows up. So you can use that as an exploration to dodge around or to negotiate, because they're freezing to death. If you can provide them with warmth or better options, they may be willing to look the other way while you go do this. So you have these different paths that you can choose. Anyway, it was a really fucking fun adventure to build, and it's the next one. It's the next one I want to do after this one. Granted, this one is taking a ridiculous amount of time to get done. I think I'm actually content with that. Yeah, I'm content with that as it is right now. The thing just said, yeah, I'm pretty cool here. It's like, okay, we're cool. What's up? The John Wick of zombies. I love him. Yeah, maybe we'll zombie. Who knows? Maybe we'll zombify him. We'll see. Maybe Captain Carl. We'll leave that open. We don't have the actual major NPCs. We only have background. We're only making background characters right now. Bone Knight. Let's get into this. Hey, Willie, how you doing? Okay, so if you go back to, I want to say it's maybe it's episode 80. It's probably episode like 70 to 110. Let's be honest. The cemetery map that I was building in the Wayback Machine of the playlist, you can go back and check that out. But we have a 50-inch by 50-inch map of a cemetery that we built with all the graves. And goddamn, that was a fucking great map. Hold on. We're creating the boss. There's a boss fight inside that cemetery, and I want to I want to show you guys what it looks like. Crystals of Mabar. Art. Act 2. Region 2. $4,000 by 3640 coming at you. Bam. Oh, that's not even the done one. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me give you the actual final. The really big one. Whoa. Oh, gonna get you. Let me choke on the love here for a minute. I'll take a sip of my water while we await. Ridiculously large. Bam, motherfucker. Here's the black and... Wait. There we go. Here's the black and white version. So I'll be able to... there's the dots. Where's my framing overlay? There we go. Here is a bunch of 11 by 17 pages, right? It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is a 10 by 15 space that you can print out as a black and white version on 11 by 17 legal sheets, right? The legal size document, like A2 or whatever that page size is. 11 by 17s. This is 20 11 by 17 pages that will be in the zip file of assets that you get with this adventure that you can print out as just this black and white. Just use a laser printer. It's just black line art. Super simple. Let me conceal that overlay here so you can see what it looks like here. So here's your main entrance, but most likely the team's going to come in through here because the village is roughly south of this location. And if this is south, then they're going to come through this broken wall. And they're going to run across these empty graves. So let's give you what it looks like on the virtual tabletop. Bam. So here's where you come in through, and then these are slickened wrought and crystalline, kind of like Phyrexian oil is starting to fill these large water holes, and you can see these little individual graves that your characters can go stick their hand in if they want to and see what they find. And there's a fog effect, a literal fog of war. It's a heavy mist that just forms over everything in Mabar to suppress light further. So that means you can't see. You have 20 feet of clear vision and then 20 more feet of dim vision. Hey, Shiner. Before you run out of visibility altogether. So your characters, you basically put a torch on your characters that's got 20 foot and then 40 foot diameter. And that's all they can see on this map. It's daytime, but it's so dark, dismal, and oppressive that you only have that, you can only hit things like within range of counterspell. It's all you can target. You can't even get your full reach on there. So this is a 50 by 50 map. So it's 250 feet across. And you only have about this much visibility at a time. So this is all you can see. So when you come into this space and you start exploring it, you're going to see offhand this massive sinkhole here. There's something called a living grave in one of the creatures. It's a monster generator, like in Gauntlet. If the monster, you have to go into the water, wade waist deep in with your weapons to go fight this giant fused mound of corpses. And until you do, more corpses will just keep bubbling up out of the water until you die or you resolve it or run away or do whatever it is that you're going to do. But anything that's large enough, oops, this has a living grave. This has a living grave up here in the right-hand corner. Over here in the left-hand corner, that has a living grave. And you can have a living grave down here. So at any given time, this is all the area you can see. At any given time, I've got D1, 2, 3, 4 different directions. I can just have a slow trickle of ghouls or zombies or fresh dead or revenants, any kind of undead I want to challenge the team, just slowly channeling towards you, occasionally from a different direction. And until you go in and find the source of the monster spawn, there's an endless supply of undead you can throw out at characters. You can have, undead rise from any of these graves at any time. And as you go across here, there's this is a gazebo, and there's different exploration. There's the combat challenges of shredding through monsters. If you don't want to worry about that, you just don't turn on the monster generators. You just they kill the first one, it's over. If they love doing that shit and they're having fun, then turn another one on. All of these different crypts that are here. Here, let me put the roof back on. There. There's roofs that you can lift off of here. So if your team wants to run around the roof of all these buildings, they're welcome to do so. But then we take off the roof and they can go, like each one of these sarcophagi have wraiths in them. And there's also wraiths in these sarcophagi. And then there's a Bone Knight, which is like an undead, like a CR9 undead master. That's in the prime sarcophagi here. That all of these other, he was the commander of this entire legion, and this entire graveyard is like the legion of Karrnathi soldiers that were assigned to protect this facility when it was first built, and they were all slaughtered by undead, so they shut the thing down and they buried them all here, and they at first they used it as a testament of what not to do, but as time went on and the forest overgrew it, the mentality of Karrnath is like, well, we can't see the problem was, so maybe we should try doing that stuff again. And that's how you got into Death Cult stuff at the end of the war. But when they fire up the Manifest Zone, it rots all of the vegetation inside the Manifest Zone into sludge. And this is what gets revealed as a result of it. And now that the crypts and all the graves aren't buried underneath plants, and instead they're now rotten Mabar crystal gunk filtering into the soil, and it animates them, and they all rise up like Thriller, and they dance party all over your grave. So that's what we're working on right now. We're working on the boss fight for this. Since you only have this 20-foot reach, you can find clues about the place at this gazebo. And spoiler alert, there's an exploration challenge that if you figure out the puzzle that's inside of the graveyard, there's a secret door that opens up inside of this gazebo that leads into a tunnel that will take you to the dungeon that you're supposed to get into, almost right next door to where the ritual is being performed. So you can shortcut all of Act 2 and 3 and get to the finale within, if you can figure, if you're doing a one-shot, you can spend 2 hours inside of this inside the cemetery fucking around and having fun. And then you open up the gate and you drop down into that, and then you can spend an hour in the finale to pop the boss fight, and then you beat the thing. So, hold on, I got a text coming in. Hold on, guys. Yeah, so that's the map. So you run around, you fuck around with stuff, you find things out, and if you want, it'll take you to the Act 3. There's also a secret door that's hidden inside this large block of stone here. You can have we have a little overlay. I haven't made it yet, but there's an overlay that you can drop in on top of this, and it'll be a secret door. So when you find it, when you come in here, if you're planning on doing combat in here, the trap door is actually open. And there's a dead guy in it who got caught by all the undead in here. But if you can get through the undead, there's your door, and it leads down the same tunnel here. It leads right underneath this gazebo. So if you find this trapdoor here, it'll lead down, and you'll see where the gazebo entrance is. You can take a ladder up to go back up out over here if you need to. But if you're running it just exploration, then you can cut off all of this tunnel access, and it just goes from here down, so you only have one direction to go. So it's really easy to manipulate it and to be able to use what you want from the adventure for different ways. Hold on, I got another thing here. Yeah, so that's the map. So what we're going to do next is I'm going to close this. Hold on. Spooky. Thanks, Donna. Yep, this is one map. There's like four. Well, there's the village map, which also has an undead threat to it. There's this map. Here, I'll show you guys real quick since it's been a while since we've seen it. But I did all these on stream on earlier episodes. So you can check it all out, but I don't mind dancing through them here real quick. It's been a while since we played. So, there we go. This is a smokestack intro. There used to be an elevator that led down. Oop, nope, wrong. Hold on. Bump, bump. There we go. Never mind about that. That is, yeah. That's all relevant. There we go. Let me make sure this is. Where's my parents? Let's go look at the other one. I'm a little concerned at the moment that something weird happened. Rise from the grave. That's the one. This here leads to the entrance of the cemetery that was on the western wall, on the eastern wall. And so there's a camp that's set up here by a bunch of guards that were hired to keep an eye on this area. This is a massive sludge pile that can create a living grave if you want to challenge the team that way. This is a pavilion that leads to another map. But in this area, you can have a social exploration or combat challenge with guards. And you can go into these ruins here. There's undead that are spawning from area number 7 here from the underground. They can come, if the team tries to sneak around, you can run across undead inside of here. This place is covered with these crystals, these black crystal grit that's terraforming the environment away from soil into this crystal, the crystals of Mabar. You can, if you crush it, you can make it into a powder that can be used as a material component to cast darkness or necromancy rituals or spells. So it's a powerful resource that these people think was worth killing for. So there's a team stationed here, and if you find this ladder leading down, that takes you to. We jump locations from here at 5 down to here. There's a door that you can open up, like a garage door that opens upward and outward. If you can lift it up, it's currently got a bunch of rocks in the way, but if you lift it up, you can go into this tunnel that leads down and down, 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 until you hit this oil slick. And then you have to make decisions about how far underwater do you really want to go with this shit. Because there's undead underwater here, but if you decide to go underwater, there's openings, there's cracks in the walls, and there's a grating on the roof. So if you get all the way down to the end here, and I've had my favorite example in the playtesting of exploring this space was they got a cart from up top. After they got rid of the guards, they grabbed the supply wagon, they emptied out the supply wagon, and they pushed it down the tunnel, and when it hit the water, it floated. So they all climbed aboard on top of the cart, and they had like about 2 feet of distance between the cart and the roof, so they just hand walked themselves down along the surface, and there's all this undead that was punching up and and trying to reach over and grab and attack them. It was so awesome. And then when they got to the end of the grading here, this leads up into a gatehouse, an underground gatehouse. So this is a murder hole that they could crack open and dump oil and light it on fire and kill anybody that's in front of this massive iron door. It takes a lot to lift it. There's an entire winch system up here that they specifically disabled to shut this access point off, because they have another point of access that they use, and they wanted to eliminate potential threats, especially that they know that there's undead running around. But these cracks in the wall lead off into the dungeon, or it dead ends over here, and you get stuck with a bunch of undead kelpie stuff fucking around with you. So if you go this way, more combat. If you go this way, it'll lead you into the underground dungeon, Act 3, and gives you a quick route to get to the ritual if you're willing to fight through all the monsters that are in the underground flooded region, like that black pudding that we did yesterday. The assassins, the drowned assassins, they're all swarming and swimming and crawling around inside of this stuff. There's a Staroper in there. There's assassin vines in there. There's an Autiug in there. There's a shambling mound in there. So a lot of heavy hitter classic monsters that are running around in this underground swamp area. So this is that second map that leads you to this. So this is your second point of access to getting into the Act 3 dungeon, the underground facility. And then I'll show you this last map in Act 2, and then I'll get back to work. Region 4, there was an elevator that would take like gargantuan sized things in and out of the underground facility as like they build monstrosities or whatever. They can move a lot of material as a production factory. They had that entrance that could go up, or you could this here was used to connect 600 feet that way to the pavilion we were just looking at, and this is the now broken elevator. When all the plant life rotted away, it caused the elevator to drop down the shaft and shatter at the bottom. You'll see it broken at the bottom of the elevator shaft when you check out the dungeon. But you can take these stairs down, and they circle around and let out inside the dungeon down here. And this is the portcullis that we were just looking at underground is literally like right here. So this is like the top, like the roof of the fortress that defends the underground temple. So you go, or the underground facility. So you can use this elevator shaft, these stairs, that ramp, and then up through the gatehouse into the defense structure or the cemetery. Those are the three ways you can physically walk from the beginning of the adventure into the finale. Or at any point, you could be teleported by your plot hook to one of these locations, depending on what your plot hook is. Will determine how close to the finale you start. So we have, like they talk about like a jacqueing your dungeon, being able to create different paths with different requirements and different challenges to get from one side of the dungeon to the other. The way that we're building adventures is we're jacqueing the entire campaign, so that we're creating different types of challenges to move from Act 1 through Act 2 into Act 3, and how you conclude the adventure is based on the plot hook that you chose and what your team's objectives are, and is this a one-shot or is this part of an ongoing campaign. So there's a lot of variables that the DM can pull and twist all the knobs and the levers to set the game up to be that he wants it to be, and then all the team can just do whatever they're going to do. And then, if it's like you could run this as a one-shot with one team and kill them on purpose, slaughter them, get them deaded, and then you send in another team later and you find your original team's corpses from the one-shot during your actual campaign. Or everyone can have a different plot that they're trying to pursue a different goal, and at some point those are going to start to conflict, and the team has to decide which one do they want to prioritize. If it's a one-shot, you can have that friend-foe sort of setup if that's what you want to do. Anyway, and there's another camp that's set up here to keep eye on this place, since so there's guards at there's patrols in the cemetery, but that place is fucking dangerous. So they don't camp there. They camp here and they camp at the fort. Those are the two areas that they know they control, and then they send out patrols with lanterns and pole arms to keep undead away from them, so they don't get tackled and mauled by straight undead. So Anyway, that's the stuff. So right now we are working on the Bone Knight, which is, I believe it has the ability to become incorporeal. You only ask, oh, would you ask? I only ask because I know my players too well. What happens if you snort the dust? Oh, great question. I believe it kills you eventually. At first it doesn't do anything. Some of the plants that grow from, it's just soil. So if you snort it, it's just going to... Oh, that's right. You can't get hit dice back until you purge it out of your system. If I recall correctly, it's a remove disease will take care of it. But there's plants and stuff that grow out of this crystal soil that like the mushrooms you can grind up into a paste, and if you rub them on your eye, you get night vision for an hour. So that's super fucking useful unto itself, just by itself. But yeah, but the crystals are basically worth like a pound is worth a silver piece, and all like the entire mile of environment is being converted to this stuff. So it's, as long as the manifest zone continues to grow, there's virtually unlimited soil that they can scrape off and bag and then give the necromancers. That's the hustle. That's the hustle they're trying to run. They're trying to corner the necromancy, the necromancy arcane focus market, and it's a bold play, but that's what they're going after. So we're doing a Bone Knight, and I believe Bone Knight had big sword. He has one central eye. And for the characters that know what's going on here and came in to fix it or to retrieve the artifact that's needed to perform the ritual, they'll recognize the Cyclopsian nature of this boss, because it's called the Eye of Mabar, and when the ritual is active, the eye opens and it gains sentience, and it tries to one of the results that could happen is that if it gets fed enough energy, it can become a Yugoloth. It can become an Ultraloth. If the ritual is perfect, then it can become an Ultraloth, which is like a CR12 Demodand. No, Demodand. I think that's what it is. It's one of the it's a Yugoloth. The Ultraloth is the highest ranking Ultraloth. Yugoloth, and Yugoloth is like a Cthulhu style devil demon thing. They hang out in Gehenna and Hades, but in Eberron they hang out in Mabar. They are the dangerous nightmare intelligence that everything fears on Mabar. These eternal demon things. So the ritual opens a portal and can permanently open a gateway to Mabar, and if everything goes right, it also creates a brand new Yugoloth, an Ultraloth, that then takes claim of that territory as its own demonic realm, and it begins to propagate demons and stuff, and it has an open door to the material plane through this ritual. So it's attempting to play the necromancers, and the necromancers are gambling that they're going to be able to handle whatever threats come up to be able to maintain security of the region. And that's a big ask. That's a really fucking big ask. So ultimately the 12 are going to have to come in with some really high hitting cleaners, because if Karen can't handle it, if the Huntsman and Karen go down, then basically the facility is going to get overran by demonic intelligence, and you have like a Prince of Darkness thing going on. I don't know if you ever saw Prince of Darkness. That's a fucking great movie, man. It's an 80s supernatural horror film, demonic possession type stuff. How do you perform the ritual of Mabar? You take the well, I'm not going to peel open the document right now because editor is still working on making it word good. But once it's complete, basically the gist is that You have the artifact. There is when you start performing the seance, you start giving it hit dice. That awakens the eye. It opens. It will find and lock onto the moon. I forget what the name of the moon that represents Mabar in the sky is, but when the ritual begins, the eye will look to the sky and find the moon, and the moon will slowly start coming towards the planet. And as you drain more life out of yourself, you're having to make whoever's performing the ritual is basically doing a skill test. So while you're performing the skill test, you're having to sacrifice hit dice or hit points to keep the ritual going so you can make another check. And you can feed somebody else's hit dice and hit points by throwing them into the circle where the ritual is happening. The circle turns into basically Avard's black tentacles and will just destroy anything inside the ritual, including the caster if the caster stops. So you're sacrificing your hit dice and then eventually hit points. You're attempting to maintain concentration during the entire process. It'll hit you for hit dice anywhere from 1 to 4 times per day. So this thing can last a while, especially if you're able to get somebody to substitute in and cover the ritual for a while. You can take a rest and get hit dice back. But Karen refuses. So Solzu's stuck there, and he only has, well, by the time the team gets there, probably just today, maybe tomorrow. But he's going to die super soon. And so if they throw in a sacrificial human, or something that has hit dice, that has sentience, then the person that's performing the ritual doesn't need to worry about taking a long rest that day, doesn't get any hit dice back, but doesn't lose any endurance. But as soon as you run out of bodies to throw in, and you can't leave the circle to go fetch a body, so you need assistance to help fetch bodies to you. Otherwise, it's just going to eat you. And if you provide it with enough power during the process and you die and there's no one there to pick it up and keep the ritual going, then it'll take whatever life force it's gathered and create a Yugoloth of like I think the lowest CR Yugoloth is 4. It's like a dog-like thing. I forget what it's called, but it's a CR4 Yugoloth, and if it completely fills up and the ritual pops perfectly, it will create a permanent portal. If you fail the ritual, it'll create a lesser Yugoloth, and then it'll close the portal. So the Yugoloth is stuck in the material world, and it has to figure out what it's going to do to open up its own tunnel. So it's now on a quest to get back to Mabar and destroy everything it needs to get there. But if you do well enough on the ritual, it absorbs enough energy and it pops off, the portal permanizes, and then you create a higher level CR Yugoloth up to an Ultraloth at CR 12. So basically, it's just basically a skill test and giving up hit dice and making concentration checks. That's it, of varying degrees depending on how things roll. But it's those 3 components that trigger it. It's not a very exciting thing for players to do, but the mechanics are sound enough that when you're looking at like an Archmage, like a CR 12 wizard that's been basically ground down to absolutely nothing, is basically a commoner right now. It's like, yeah, that's the kind of power that you're dealing with. So that kind of gives you a sense of scale. Yeah, basically, it's opening the door to Cthulhu. And you have to have the artifact, because the artifact was forged in Mabar, so that's what creates the bridge. But again, it's the egg of a Yugoloth, and it's waiting to be born. And it evolves into however much carnage it gathers during that birthing process. So your best case scenario of having a perfect ritual and you get everything you want, you now have an incredibly high CR creature you have to fuck with. If you fuck up the ritual, it's going to collapse, you're going to fail, but at least the creature that gets created is only CR4 or maybe 6. But that'll slaughter almost anybody that's, not of high-ranking power. So these chumps that are like the Karen and the Houndsman would be able to survive a CR9 fight probably, but like an Ultraloth would just shred them. They would die. So, but they don't know about the Ultraloth. They don't know this is going to happen. They only have limited information about what the ritual does and how it works. And Solzu's using this as a power grab opportunity because he's basically a war criminal and he's laying low. So he figures if he accomplishes this ritual, he'll be able to get access to resources from the 12 and be able to retire out of country with the ill-gained goods that he's going to create as a result of this. And it's all going to go sideways on him. It's going to go sideways on all of them. It's just none of them know it yet. Because the ritual, when they first did it, it was a catastrophic failure. They somehow got their hands on this artifact. They attempted the ritual in this facility. They got up to like I want to say like a Mariloth, or that's probably not right, but it was like a CR10 creature. That's what they summoned, and it was a CR10 creature, slaughtered everyone. And by the time it got dropped, it took out the entire battalion that was assigned to the place. So they're like, okay, well, we better shut this shit down. And so they did. And then they mothballed, Indiana Jones style. They stored the eye away so that no one, so when they felt like they needed to research it again, it'd be available. And Solzu had access to, he was part of the war tech scientific industry before he started doing, abomination science and got himself banned. But he knew what Ader Academy had access to, so he whipped up this plan. Hey, what if I get that thing and get the 12 to back me? I can become a supervillain, like James Bond style. I can have a mansion and I can perform my dark rituals, and if they're productive, the 12 will front me. And God, what if someday I even became the 12? Like a member of the 12? That'd be amazing. Like, this is what's going on in his head. And they're like, okay, we'll fund you if you can pull it off. Sounds awesome. Something's wrong. Send in an investigator and a wet team. Clean that thing up and see if there's anything salvageable. And meanwhile, Ader Academy's like, oh shit, our dark ritual thing is missing. We better low-key hire some investigators to find where the fuck that went, because we don't really understand how it works yet. It's an artifact from another dimension that wants us to talk to it. We're kind of scared. So go fetch that thing for us, okay? So there you go. Some of the plot lines that are in this adventure, and if it's part of an ongoing campaign, that's like that right there can set the tone for an entire campaign if you wanted it to. This is an 8th level adventure, but I mean that's the start of a plot line that I could cook through 18th, 20th level if I needed to. Burp, 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 burp. Stuff's going on with my phone. I got another 15 minutes in us. Bring the microphone over. Yeah, they're going to have a really fucking bad day. Hold on, let me fix my screen here. Here we go. Yep, and your character has, I mean, this is just background stuff. This is what's running around inside, like these are the motives of the villains. Like, if you need to make a decision about, what do I think these characters are going to do? Well, knowing that Karen wants Solzu to die, and that the Huntsman's going to do whatever Karen wants him to do, and that the 12 is going to send a Wetworks team in. Solzu's stuck in the ritual, and if everything goes wrong, you're going to have to deal with a low CR Yugoloth monster running around inside this facility, cut off from its home plane. If it goes really well and you can't stop the ritual, it'll go really well. And then you're going to have a really high, if the team has a lot of So that's what the DM can do. If the team is exhausted at all their resources, then the ritual can fuck up, and it'll collapse when they defeat the enemies. It'll collapse, and you'll have a low CR creature that you can either run off or you can pick it off yourself, depending on how you're playing the game. If the team is basically wiping their ass with this entire adventure, then the ritual is perfect. The manifest zone is secured, and you won't be able to shut it down until you kill the Ultraloth. And when that forms, the Ultraloth can just escape into the plane of Mabar and just yeet out of there. And now you can lead your team into an extraplanar campaign if you wanted to at 9th level. Otherwise, you can fight the creature here. Like it can't control the region if it's not here. So ultimately, it needs to come back. So if you're doing a one shot and that's the kind of aggression you want to work into your one shot, then the ritual is perfect. The Ultraloth forms, the gate permanizes, and the Ultraloth can use lair actions to summon more demons and undead from the plane that's swirling all around. So you can escalate the threat as much as you want, or let it back off, depending on what the DM needs to juice up or tone down the threat. But having that as as a lever, again, it's a dial you can turn to intense or lay off the challenge of the battle. And this is all spawned because I wanted to make that adventure about how to layer adventure plots, like this process of having more than one plot line, having more than one pathway that can lead you to different parts of the adventure. Each challenge that's in the adventure have different ways to be able to approach it, from a social, combat, or exploration. The book that I was creating, I kept having to make examples of, like, here's an example of a combat scenario that you could weave into exploration or into a social circumstance, and here's how you might want to break up the different types of challenges that you're presenting to your team over the course of an adventure, and here's how you might want to diversify the type of threats that they're facing in combat so they feel different, like all these yada yada yadas. And I had to keep building examples to point out, like, what do I mean by that? How can you demonstrate that? And I at some point I was just like, fuck it, let's just random up an adventure like the way that the book describes, and build the adventure to demonstrate all the ideas that I'm putting out. And so now we're here. So, and then again, I'll use the same process for the frozen volcano temple adventure that I was talking about earlier, that I did the one shot sample game for. That uses that same method of diversifying challenges, goals, and rewards. So it's I guess it's a philosophy of design. Maybe it's just utilizing the basic principles that everybody keeps telling us makes for good adventuring, and I'm just providing examples that demonstrate these suggestions are actually legitimate. Like, if you actually apply all these things, here's the sort of stuff that you can do. So I might not actually be introducing new content, but I'm attempting to provide a practical example of how that stuff works, so that, and then provide you a randomizer that you can create adventure seeds out of, and then use these processes to just create an adventure using this same method of production. So trying to teach people how to fish, I guess, but it's a huge fucking project. It's a ridiculously large task. So I'll probably have to wait until I can do a Kickstarter, because that project could take me 2 years to complete, depending on how I build it. But it's in the pipeline. It's on my bucket list of things that I hope to build before I die someday. because it's reliable. You know, once you have a method of construction, you can build anything you want with it. Now, I want to knock down a few more 20-level campaigns before I decide to create any advice books about epic level gameplay. Just because I'm only finished. I think this is my 4th one that I'm about to finish. I think I want to get another 2 or 3 of them under my belt before I can really see enough to be able to say, okay, here's what I've really learned from this whole process, and then you know, start offering what I've found to be successful in my games. And if it evolves to a point where it's like, wow, there's so much, just aside from my own narrative details, like if I have to modify the game to a point that it's not, like, it's so house ruled that it's not really even D&D anymore, maybe I'll consider making a game out of it instead, since it's something I can reliably, like the way I DM, I can reliably do to 20th level. Now it's just a matter of how can I build it with what is coming out in 2024. So with the new edition of the game, I have to kind of start over again and reevaluate. You know, are there new things I have to learn to make this information still viable? Like what changed that I need to apply? And if I don't like it, then I'll just go my own way, I guess. But assuming that works, I can stay relevant to the 5e conversation. And since 5e is my absolute favorite edition of D&D ever, I would prefer that. So I want to take my time to make sure I get to where I want to be. This guy's looking pretty fucking dope. It's a real propeller blade of a sword. Fucking great angling. Great angling, Kearney. Good job. Supos? Somebody order beefcake? Holy shit. Yeah, let me just rise from a tomb and attack you 15 feet away. The undead aren't hindered by the fog at all. They can see right through it. They can see you like way the fuck over there, and you have no idea they can see you. You don't even know they're there yet. They can see you, and here they come. I kind of missed the propeller blade. I've got stubby arms today. I don't know what's up with that. There. Somebody order bad news? Because I've got a whole bunch of it right here for you. This is going to be such a fucking awesome token. Holy shit. He's got the moves, oh, hey, oh. They sing and dance, oh, hey, oh. His pauldrons are baby. His pauldrons are Umber Hulks. That's so hardcore. Oh my god. What a fucking nightmare. So cool. That's the best pauldron ever. Oh my god, pauldrons of the Umber Hulk. When you when you take the dodge action, opponents have to make a Wisdom saving throw, or you have a Sanctuary effect that can't attack you because they're mesmerized. That'd be fucking dope. He doesn't even have a head. He's just got a floating, burning eye. It's like, wow, you're a nightmare fuel. Oh shit, he sees us. Oof, we're almost out of time too. God damn, this is fun. Yeah, that's a blurry mess. I acknowledge that. That's what happens when we upscale size on a low pixel doodle. Beefcake! Can he do feet? Yes. The answer is yes. Yes, he can. I'm just going to finish this up real quick. I'm going to call it a day. Holy crap. We're making some badasses today, my friends. My dream is to do this every day. Just sit down, turn off my brain, and start doodling. I know I'll never be able to because I'm always going to be wanting to build a new game or something, but this is my heaven. This is my flow state. I don't age in this space. Yeah, he's my angle's a little off, but he's pretty bad news. I need to shift up this leg just a bit. That's about where I need to be. There. I'm going to blurred up a touch, but that's okay. It's going to come off as metal in the end. This guy's, well, I said, you're right. He's a chunky boy. Chunk, chunk. Better reduce that just a touch. Let's do this. Hold on. What happens if I convert to a smart object? No disarms. No change. Rasterize. Yeah, that's decent ideation there. We can come back and add in details again while we go through the coloration process to flesh this out. But yeah, he's a good chunky boy. I'm happy with that. Oh, night. That. Fucking buff, yo. Hey, thanks for the love. Hey, Tyler. How you doing, my guy? I'm just about to check out, my friends. But goddamn, I am looking forward. I will tell you this. I am looking forward to the Spelljammer project finishing so I can start doing this in the morning every day. It's going to be so much fun. That should be in January that the book is released and we ship this to our morning project. And then we're going to start doing DMing stuff here in the evenings. Game prep. I'll be prepping both my Spelljammer campaign for my home table, and I'll be prepping the Color Mana Hex crawl for the Martial Powers playtest. So those are both coming down the pipe. Yeah, we're gonna build basically a toolkit and a campaign guide for both of those, so we understand the scope of what the game is, and for the playtest, understand the scope and challenges of the playtest to make sure that they're suitable and appropriate for challenging the different aspects of play that the Martial Power system is offering. So, yeah, I expect. Well, Martial Powers. I'm going to be back on tomorrow morning for Spelljammer Art, of course, because I'm always on in the morning for Spelljammer Art. But tomorrow at lunchtime, Seattle lunch. I'll talk about it when I'm done with my stream tomorrow morning. I'll tell you when I expect to be jumping on. But we should be finishing up the monk subclasses for the Martial Power system tomorrow, and if we're lucky and timing works for us, we'll be able to get done with most of the bonus powers that the selected ranger subclasses get. And once we do that, we'll be working on creatures and gear. So, like magic items that you can have using the power system, and then the creatures that we want to build out using the power kits that we're building, and making them starting the selection process of what kind of creatures do I want to have in the playtest for the characters to fuck around with, and then build the appropriate kits for them. So, like, we've been building a specialized list of kits for different subclasses. We'll be doing that same process for the different creatures that we define as like boss fight creatures inside the playtest, and all of that stuff will be, it'll be live here on screen, so people that are playtesting will literally know what's coming. But I don't think that's going to impact the quality of the playtesting, because I put something, you'll see it's a randomized system, so. It's not like I'm building a specific piece of content that you guys will go through. I'm building a toolkit of random things that are going to make you burn resources, hit points, and mana to defeat. So you'll see the range of different things that the team is going to have to endure, and that can help you. If a playtester is watching the stream, you'll get a heads up on the kind of things that you want to be thinking about when you build your characters. Like, oh yeah, it'd be useful if I had, I don't know, like if we get into this area, I'll want to make sure I have access to necromancy, like necrotic damage, for instance, or whatever they come up with. We'll see how it sculpts out, but it feels right. And for Spelljammer, it'll just be me showcasing the thing I just published, and how it can be used to build an adventure toolkit for players that's not light as Araxis. But I am overdue. I can feel. There we go. That feels really fucking good now. Just clean that up. God, Muse, let me go. She's like, no, I got one more thing. It's like, Muse, there's always one more thing. There'll forever be. She says, I know. But yeah, I gotta crisp up all these edges and stuff from that resize. It really degraded the line quality, but it's bigger now, so I can the same size line, same size eraser is going to be able to provide more intense detail than what I had when I initially sketched it, but all that sketch stuff is still intact here. There. Yeah, I can do feet. Gotta go. An hour later. There. Right on, guys. Yeah, it really has been. It's literally been 2 years. January will be 2 years. But that's, that's me. That's the one thing that holds me back from true greatness is production time. Thanks, everybody, for swinging by and hanging out. I really had a real badass time tonight. I just, sketching like this free flow, detailed character art sketching, I absolutely love it. It's a shame I don't appreciate commission requests more, because I love doing the work. I just can't afford to be tied down on what it is I'm creating. And when you do commission projects, you're the primary goal is to please the client. And when I'm in flow state like this, I can't guarantee that I will. So I have to be careful about the commissions that I take. Come on, baby, let me go. I gotta go. I got things I gotta do tonight. There we go. Okay, cool. Save, and she's letting me go. Whew. So there it is. God damn, this guy's insane. I'm really looking forward to be back tomorrow morning to continue working on the Ring World community and the Spelljammer art book that we've been creating. I'll be back at lunch to continue converting monks into the martial power system, and then I'll be back on Saturday morning to continue work on the book cover commission that I have, and we're getting really close to done on that. So I'm really excited. I will see you guys on the other side. Later, Gators. Thanks a lot for being here.